Go ahead. Yeah. How you doing, everyone? I'm Isaiah Johnson, the research coordinator of Team Improvement. We're here to talk to you about T-Square. T-Square was founded in 2007 by developed by the IKEA, and it is a web resource designed for students and staff. And Clay Finlayson is the director of T-Square, and he really is aiming to make T-Square better for everyone here at Tech. First off, our aim is to improve the system, because so far it's really hard. It's a big issue for students and staff here at Tech, and we want to make it better for everyone here. More convenient for everyone to use. Up next we have Emily to discuss the current situation.
Hi, I'm Emily Douglas. I just want to talk to you a little about what's happening right now from a student and staff perspective. So students really need greater access to resources in order to meet all of the demands on their time. Time is the most important resource that a student has, so a better T-Square would allow students to do more with their time. And collaboration has become really important, especially with Tech's emphasis on leadership and everything. It's really important for students to be able to collaborate efficiently. And professors also have some demands. They would like to have some better video conferencing so that they can still conduct class if they can't physically be there. This goes along with telecommuting and being green, everything that's happening in the world today. They really want a better grade book. The grade book now doesn't really work very well, and they want more integration, just as the students do, so they can see, calendars and due dates and things like that.
Okay, guys, my name is Tony. I'm going to take you through the project plan. So the purpose of our project plan is basically to create a guideline for the Office of Information Technology to be able to implement this. And specifically, there are 4 steps for the implementation of this plan. The plan's objectives include maximizing usability for students as well as faculty by making significant improvements in design. And also, we want to foster academic growth by having better access to resources for the students and faculty and more interaction for the students and faculty. And finally, we also want to improve the stability and the speed of T-Square, minimizing the number of crashes it has, making sure the server is running properly, and making sure that the pages load faster. And we also want to improve the visual quality of T-Square to make it, more aesthetically appealing for everybody who uses it. Okay, so step 1 is obtaining the necessary funding and the resources we need to carry out this plan, and we're going to start that in May of 2011. The estimated cost of the entire project is about $150,000, and the majority of this cost will come at the beginning of the project. What we want to do is we recognize that the OIT does not have just employees sitting around doing nothing, ready to work on this new project. So we're going to hire 2 full-time employees, or an alternative, hire some interns from Georgia Tech to work on this project. And they are going to form a team with team members who have had prior experience working on T-Square, members that have designed T-Square 3 years ago when it was first founded and have been doing monitoring and data collection for T-Square today. And finally, we're going to purchase 2 Oracle servers. This is largely going to be used towards some of the new features that we're going to introduce, as well as speeding up the overall loading time, as well as improving the stability of T-Square. All right, step 2, we're going to be establishing the system requirements, and this is going to start when the team is actually formed and the project's ready to start, and that'll be around June 2011. So what we want to do is the team would ideally develop a new optimized design that has lots of emphasis on efficiency and usability, because right now we recognize that T-Square is really slow and not very optimized. The same same kind of problem exists with this database, which is a reason why some of the resource page and assignments page load very slowly. And we also want to keep forward compatibility in mind, because this will allow us to easily have updates and regularly make improvements to T-Square. So for the first 2 weeks, the team is going to have 2 to 3 weekly meetings where they will discuss these issues. And finally, after the design has been figured out, they're going to divide the workload and distribute them among the team members. Okay, so step 3 is going to be implementing the changes that we talked about in step 2. This is probably going to occur around late June 2011. We want to implement the changes in 2 phases. Phase 1 is going to be complete prior to the start of fall 2011 semester. And what we're going to be doing in phase 1 is mainly revamping the visual layout as well as navigation of T-Square. This includes making tabs better to access, as well as some of the other overall visual layout of T-Square. And we're also going to delete some of the unused as well as rarely used features in T-Square. And this includes features such as polls, which not very many teachers use, and also stuff like site info as well as the wiki. We're also going to modify current features that have problems. One of the main complaints that faculty and students have is the gradebook feature. And what we're going to do is combine the grades and gradebook feature into one feature, and then make it a lot easier for faculty to use, as well as teaching assistants. And there are obviously lots of other features that we're going to modify and change to make it better. In phase 2, this is going to be completed prior to the start of spring 2012. We're mainly going to be adding additional features to T-Square. And our focus is going to be on ease of information flow. So we're going to be adding features like video conferencing, file sharing between students who are accessing T-Square, as well as a better chat system. Okay, finally, we're going to assess the results, and this is going to be done in August 2011. We're going to have several team members who were originally working on the project to monitor the phase 1 results and collect data to see whether or not the changes we made is what we want. And then once phase 2 is complete, all team members are going to monitor and assess the changes made in phase 2. Some of the benchmarks that we're going to use are a speed test to see how the servers have improved the speed and the uploading ability, and how the new design has improved the database and optimized everything so that it runs faster. And also the usage amount of the modified features, as well as some of the new features that we introduced. And the server utilization and capacity, how much are the servers being utilized, and whether or not the new additional features we introduced are causing strengths or problems. And finally, we're going to have some surveys and feedback from students and faculty to see how we're doing. This is going to be a long-term project, and there's going to be monitoring throughout the process, years and years ahead of this project. And data collection is going to be occurring throughout next few years. This is implemented for timely and dynamic updates, taking advantage of the technological advances that are happening every year.
Hi, I'm Devin Clifford. I'm going to tell you about why we think we're uniquely suited to be telling you what changes need to be made to T-Square. Basically, we have a very diverse group of students here. We have a large variety of background interests, are all involved in very different extracurricular activities, and all have been using T-Square for different amounts of time. I've been using T-Square since it was instituted at Georgia Tech 3.5 years ago. Isaiah's only been using it for a year. So we have a variety of different experience levels with T-Square, as well as a fresh experience and someone who's had to be there for every button and glitch and problem that it's had as well. We also did formal interviews with multiple professors from different schools to find out what was not working and what was working for T-Square for the faculty.
Okay, so I'm Kristen Watkins. I'm going to talk about what it is going to cost to make this happen. So some of the costs that we're going to have, obviously delays and stoppages caused by ineffective, so the people that we hire are going to have to go back in and find those bugs and such like that. Other things are going to be software licenses. We are using open source Sakai, so we aren't going to have to pay for that software, which is a nice benefit. Some of the software we may have to purchase if we decide that we want some specific things. The developmental labor is also another cost to consider. We were going to implement 2 new employees. The average salary for a current GT OIT employee is just over $51,000. So we allocated a little over $100,000 total. So this really accounts for the scope of the changes and to make sure that the modifications and everything will happen. User training is not a large cost, only about $400, but this just ensures that we have allocated the amount to have these OIT teach the students and professors how to use the system, since that has been a big issue is they don't know how to use the gradebook and such like that. We allocate that money specifically. And then like Tony said earlier, another big cost is the hardware. We think that given the increased usage and necessary memory, that we're going to have to implement 2 more Oracle servers. There are a ton of benefits to this, though. Increased time savings. The students will have better access to information, and they're going to be able to get to what they need fast. They're not going to have to spend the time downloading things or going from calendar to calendar and email and such. So they'll have everything that they need right there, and that makes more efficient students and professors alike. Increased user satisfaction. Obviously, if the system is working better, the end users are going to be more satisfied. So if students and professors have the tools and things that they need, then they're going to be better off. Increased productivity is a great benefit of this because students will not have to go from site to site trying to find the information that we need. If we have all the resources in one accessible place, then it's kind of beneficial. Obviously, on the professor side, the main changes that we're going to be making are in the gradebook and the calendar and such like that. It will make them more productive by not having to enter that information into several systems. And finally, an increased access to information. Obviously, having students and professors have one website that has everything that they need is advantageous.
To go along with our proposal, we put together a prototype for the new design of T-Square, which you can see here. There are a few important changes that I'm going to explain in more detail. The first one is the overall look of the page. As you can see, we changed the color scheme to make it more visually appealing for the users, and this will be beneficial to them, especially because most users log in 3 or more times a day on average. And you'll also notice that we added an assignments due soon module to the dashboard, which shows which assignments users have to tune in soon. And it also highlights the assignments that are due within 24 hours to remind them of those assignments. We also added a quick links module, which displays links to the most used areas of each class. And this is sorted by the date that they were last accessed, so users have quick access to their most used features. And we think that these features, along with the new stuff like video conferencing and improvements to the gradebook, will help the overall usability of T-Square for the entire Georgia Tech community.
So basically, what it all boils down to is T-Square can be a really helpful tool for faculty and staff. The way it's set up right now makes it often a hassle for students and faculty to use because it's so cumbersome. The updates that we propose would make T-Square much easier to use. It would increase user satisfaction, and it would open up lines of communication between students and professors, which would add to an entirely better academic environment at Georgia Tech as a whole. The new speed and ease of use will increase student and teacher communication, and the new widget will perform functions that users have been looking for the past 3 years.